welcome to Learning from Leaders. It's your host, Patrick Dewar. Today I've got an excellent show for you. So many people wonder, how do you get the attention of the press? How do you really have an impact in your business's direction to really just attract the online and offline press? Most people don't know how to do that. Writing a press release is a scary event for some people. Most of us have never done it. We wouldn't know how to talk to the press because you don't want to sound salesy, but yet you want to make sure your point's across, and you've got all these parameters that you want to go into that will attract the attention of the press, but yet you just don't know how to say it. Well, my guest today is the 30-minute online PR guy. He is the man that can give you some tips and tools and techniques for getting you the attention of not just the TV media, but the media that has to do with radio, internet, and all of the other, if you want to call it, blogs and forums and places out there in the universe that want to know about you, that want to know what you have to offer, but you don't know how to reach them because it's a little bit like, well, trying to pick out a spoonful of seawater from the ocean, okay? It's just so much information. My guest today is Marc Harty, and he's going to be giving you tons of information about things that you can do and how you need to really begin to attract the attention of all the different medias that are out there in order for you to succeed the way you want to. Marc, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Pat. It's great to be here.
Now, in looking at your bio, I was stunned at how many big boys you've played with, so to speak. I mean, you've worked with Radio Shack, you've worked with EDS, you've worked with so many Fortune 100 companies in your history of being active in not just PR, but actually having your own ad agency and things of that nature, and won a couple of Clios and several other awards like that. I want to know, what's your story? How did you get into being the 30-minute PR guy?
Well, it was a natural progression from, I started in traditional advertising and marketing, and I worked for several advertising agencies, very well-known, high-profile ad agencies, developed a lot of campaigns that people would be familiar with, worked on TGI Fridays, worked on Motel 6, and as you mentioned, I started my own marketing company. And here's the thing, it's really important in marketing to have a distinction and to have a twist. So I'll just give you a quick little story. Like a lot of people, when I started my company, I named it after myself. My last name is Harty, so it was Harty Communications. So right around, I'd say, 2000, when with the .com, all the internet businesses were getting so popular, I was like, you know what, I really should shorten the business name. So I shortened it to HartyCom. Now, business name, good idea for, hey, an announcement to the press, right? Okay, so I send out a press release, but here's the key. And you asked how I get started, and this is kind of a demonstration of my philosophy, if you will. I believe that even in press releases, if you use humor selectively, it can be very effective. Mm-hmm. So in the press release, I mentioned that we changed the name, Harty Communications to HartyCom. And then I said, and as with most press releases, you have a quote. So there was a quote from me. And the quote was, with all the time we'll save by saying the shorter name, we'll put towards client deadlines.
Okay.
And what was great about that was, if you're in the media's position, they get thousands and thousands and thousands of press releases. So you need to do something different to stand out. Well, because I was willing to poke a little fun at myself, and also with humor, there's always a trace of truth. And as you know, in a service business, you really have to perform for your clients. So that quote, all the time we'll save by saying the shorter name we'll put towards client deadlines, is a little kind of aha chuckle about what it's like to be in our industry. Mm-hmm. The net result was I got the press release published in the Dallas Business Journal. And I think the reason was because I had that little twist.
So it was just adding the spice.
Exactly.
Okay, so you used humor and to step into that arena, how have you really been able to build your PR firm?
It's really about distinctions. There are, there are hundreds, there are thousands of PR firms and publicity firms. And when I started this, my goal wasn't to be everything to everybody. Publicity is a huge umbrella. What I chose to focus on is something that I learned based on having a search marketing company. Search marketing sounds very technical. All it means is doing marketing on the search engines, or marketing, with your website, you can be found on the search engines. And I was so convinced at the power of online PR that I just focused on the online part of publicity.
Now, that's a pretty big arena, isn't it?
Online PR?
Right.
It is, but yet if you do it the right way, you can dominate. And I in this industry, it's a really kind of accelerated time frame. I mean, we've really been doing online PR since 2004. Now, it doesn't sound like a long time, but there's been so many advances, technical advances.
I wouldn't doubt. Before we go to the break, I want to talk a little bit about who you're really trying to reach, and then I want to talk about how people can get a hold of you before we go to the break, and then we go into the other part 2 and part 3 of today's show. We'll expand on all the additional fun that's there. But who you're really trying to reach?
Well, I actually brought an image. There's like a target, and I don't know if we can get that up here, but what people don't realize with online PR is, it used to be with PR you just reach the media. Well, now with online PR you can reach the media, but the media is fragmented. You've got traditional media, you've got online media, you've got social media, and the same thing with consumers. You've got all these different branches that you can reach people, even influencers.
Very good. So as we're about to go to break, I know that you actually have set up a website, and your company is all about the 30-minute PR. What's your website?
It's 30minutepr.com.
30-minute, and they're probably going to put it up here, but 30minutepr.com.
Right.
And people can go there and they can get some information about how to connect to you. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay. Well, I know as we're coming down to the break here, one of the things that I want to make sure is that you guys understand that Marc really has some good information about how you can get the attention of the media in every form. And that's what most people miss, is that there are multiple levels of media and multiple ways to target that group so that you actually have some results. We're going to be right back for the next part of the show.